Longtime Sinaloa Cartel boss Ismael El Mayo Zambada was ultimately captured after what authorities believe was a betrayal organized by Joaquín Guzmán López, the son of El Chapo. Zambada had built a reputation as one of the most elusive figures in the criminal underworld, skillfully dodging crackdowns, rival threats, and international manhunts. Yet in a stunning turn of events, he ended up in custody on U.S. soil. What makes this even more dramatic is that his downfall reportedly did not come from a bold law enforcement operation, but from within his own ranks. According to allegations, Guzman Lopez, the son of Zambada's longtime partner, turned against him, setting the stage for one of the most shocking betrayals in cartel history. The arrest has sent shockwaves through Mexico and the United States, raising urgent questions about loyalty, power, and survival inside the cartel world. Some analysts believe Guzman Lopez may have calculated that sacrificing Zambada could secure him leverage or leniency with U.S. authorities. Others suggest the move reflects deeper fractures within the Sinaloa Cartel, particularly between the old guard and a younger, more aggressive generation eager to consolidate control. Whatever the motive, the betrayal threatens to destabilize one of the most powerful criminal organizations in the world, potentially igniting violent struggles for dominance and reshaping the balance of power in the drug trade. Allies turned into rivals. Ismael El Mayo Zambada became powerful by staying quiet and thinking long-term. In the 1970s and 1980s, he started as a small marijuana and opium trafficker in rural Sinaloa, Mexico. Back then, drug groups were smaller and worked only in certain regions. Instead of using a lot of violence, El Mayo focused on building trust. He worked closely with local farmers who grew the crops, created steady supply routes, and formed relationships with corrupt officials who helped protect operations. By building strong connections and staying low profile, he slowly became an important figure in larger trafficking networks. Ismael El Mayo, Zambada, and Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán worked side by side as key partners in the Sinaloa Cartel. Because of that long partnership, El Chapo's sons, often referred to as Los Chapitos, grew up within the same inner circle and were familiar with El Mayo as one of their father's closest and most trusted allies. After El Chapo was arrested and later extradited to the United States, his sons gradually stepped into larger leadership roles within the organization. In the beginning, El Mayo and the younger Guzmans remained connected through shared interests and the need to keep the cartel's operations running smoothly. But over time, reports suggest that tensions began to surface. The new generation was seen as more aggressive, particularly in expanding the fentanyl trade, and appeared eager to assert greater control over the cartel's direction. According to U.S. authorities and various media accounts, one of El Chapo's sons allegedly helped orchestrate a situation that led to El Mayo's arrest in 2024. Reports claim El Mayo was drawn into a meeting under false pretenses and ultimately handed over to U.S. authorities. The secret plan behind the arrest. According to U.S. officials and multiple media reports, Joaquín Guzmán López, one of El Chapo's sons, allegedly helped plan the operation that led to the arrest of Ismael El Mayo Zambada in 2024. Authorities believe Guzman Lopez arranged a private meeting under the appearance of routine cartel business discussions. Investigators say the plan was carefully organized to gain El Mayo's trust, using long-standing family ties and shared leadership within the Sinaloa organization. U.S. officials later claimed that Guzman Lopez coordinated with American law enforcement behind the scenes, setting up the circumstances that would allow them to take El Mayo into custody. After landing at a private airport near El Paso, located in Texas, officials stated that he arrived on a private aircraft that had departed from Mexico. Once the plane touched down on U.S. soil, federal agents including Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, and FBI personnel were already waiting. As soon as he exited the aircraft, agents moved in and took him into custody without a shootout or public confrontation. Reports indicate that El Mayo allegedly believed he was traveling to attend a meeting related to cartel business and did not expect to be arrested upon arrival. U.S. officials later revealed that Joaquín Guzmán López, one of El Chapo's sons, was also taken into custody during the same operation. Law enforcement officials stated that once he landed on U.S. soil, federal agents moved in and detained him without a shootout. Authorities described the arrest as a coordinated law enforcement effort that relied on planning and deception rather than force. The arrest marked a dramatic turning point in the history of the Sinaloa Cartel, as it suggested internal betrayal at the highest levels of leadership. If the allegations are accurate, the operation demonstrated a major power shift within the cartel, with El Chapo's son playing a direct role in bringing down one of the most powerful and long-standing figures in organized crime. El Mayo in handcuffs. The fateful day. The critics indicate that the arrest was far from ordinary. Zambada himself insists that he was ambushed, restrained, and effectively kidnapped by armed men allegedly acting from within his own organization. What made the operation particularly striking was that it didn't unfold on the battlefield of law enforcement versus cartel. It was an internal betrayal, a calculated move from someone who once stood as a trusted ally. According to reports, 6 cartel operatives physically overpowered Zambada, tying his legs and covering his head with a black bag. He was then thrown into the back of a pickup truck and transported onto a private plane bound for El Paso, Texas. Waiting at the other end were U.S. federal authorities. Despite this, Zambada claims he did not cross the border voluntarily, describing the operation as a kidnapping from start to finish, with elements of physical abuse and intimidation. This move underscored the ruthless logic of cartel politics, where loyalty is temporary, alliances are fragile, and betrayal can emerge from the closest quarters. The consequences went beyond Zambada's personal danger. The arrest caused tension between the U.S. and Mexico, with Mexican officials saying they were surprised and demanding answers from the Department of Justice. For the Sinaloa Cartel, it was more than just losing a leader. It created a gap in power, leading to fights among lieutenants who wanted to take control. The sudden absence of El Mayo left the cartel vulnerable to both internal betrayals and external attacks from rival groups. The consequences were poised to reverberate across borders, reshaping alliances and altering the balance of power within one of the world's most notorious criminal organizations. Every decision made in the coming weeks would have lasting implications, not just for the cartel, but for the wider fight against drug trafficking across North America. The arrest of Emilio El Mayo Zambada is more than a headline. It is a turning point in the story of the Sinaloa Cartel, a stark reminder that in the world of organized crime, the fiercest battles often happen within. Generational ambitions, internal betrayals, and shifting alliances are redefining what power looks like, both in Mexico and beyond its borders. El Mayo's fall exposes the fragility of empires built on secrecy and fear. While he represented decades of strategic consolidation, the moment his own ally allegedly turned against him, the balance of power shifted overnight. Cartels are not static. They adapt, fracture, and evolve, and leadership transitions are rarely smooth. This could spark a flow of violence, destabilizing entire regions and reaching even into the United States through established networks of distribution, trafficking, and money laundering. Yet, within this chaos, a window of opportunity emerges. Governments, law enforcement, and communities may finally rethink long-standing strategies against the drug trade. Beyond arrests and raids, addressing corruption, poverty, and the deeper forces that fuel cartel power could reshape the landscape in lasting ways. The story of El Mayo serves as a cautionary tale. Empires built on blood and secrecy are fragile. The quietest decisions, made behind closed doors, can echo louder than gunfire. This was not simply an arrest, it was a calculated betrayal from within. The fall of Zambada exposes the fragile core of criminal empires, where loyalty, ambition, and survival collide. Blood betrayals shake dynasties more than bullets ever could. As the Sinaloa Cartel faces a sudden power vacuum, the world watches. Chaos, violence, and opportunity ripple outward, proving that even legends untouchable for decades can crumble in a single quiet moment behind closed doors.